Is that the
Yeah,
deal?
well, they said Kimberly's accounted for. Where's Kai? And I was like, Kai can
Oh
see the
yes,
chat.
I'm here. I can see the chat. I'm the quiet type. Uh, hey everybody, I'm Kai
Here we
Ryssdal.
go.
Welcome back to Make Me Smart, where we make today make sense. Friday, 17 May is the date.
It, it is. And I'm Kimberly Adams. Thank you for joining us on the podcast and on the YouTube live stream for everyone hopping in there. It is Friday, thank goodness. And so that means it's time for our weekly happy hour episode, Economics on Tap.
Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Why don't I do the chair dance? I don't
Why
dance. Do
don't
you
you do the
people not
chair
even know
dance?
me? It's like nobody even listens. I don't
They
dance.
don't, they don't
Jesus.
pay enough attention.
God. Okay, so we'll do what we usually do on a Friday, which is news, take a break, and then play a game. Before we do that, though, we will talk drinks. I'm having coffee, as promised. I guess it's over here. Sorry. In my Puabic mug. This is my wife's Puabic mug. I've got the dark blue one. She's got the light blue one, for whatever random reason.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, oh, I love these mugs. They're fabulous. If you're in Detroit, go buy Puabic. It's amazing. They have great stuff, and this is not an endorsement or a paid plug. Just go because they got good stuff. All right. Anyway, what are you drinking? What are you having?
I am drinking sparkling water and in a very fancy Target champagne flute left over from when I had them out at when I went to Steeplechase a couple weekends ago.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we tried to be real like fancy, like pinkies up and everything. So we had real glassware,
My
which
goodness.
from
There you
Target,
go.
but for the win. But it's got sparkling water. And some time ago, one of our wonderful listeners sent me a bunch of tonics, these Sweet Haven tonics, and they come in a bunch of different flavors. And their mixers are like shrubs for mixing with cocktails and other things. And so this is
Oh,
lemon, basil, and lavender. And so I've got that mixed in with the sparkling water, and it's lovely and refreshing and nice. And yeah, I don't know, I didn't feel like drinking today. So,
fair enough. I hear you,
yeah,
especially because you're getting up at 3:30 in the morning to do that C-SPAN
yeah,
thing
that
you
that
do.
that's part of
Yeah,
it. I'm,
totally,
I'm talking to
totally.
Stephen Moore tomorrow. It's going to be great.
Are you? Huh.
Hmm.
Fascinating. I guess we'll see.
It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
to the chat. Let's see. There's a Peach Bellini from Flipping Out. A little shout out to my heritage here from Chuck Klangnecht. Happy Constitution Day, 17. Mai. For those of you who are Norwegian today, Alt på Norge.
Hmm.
Otherwise, let's see. Robert Anstead,
Jet Girl
generic red
in,
wine.
oh, sorry, Rachel in
Go
Philly
ahead.
is
Okay.
having a Diet Pepsi with pizza, which is great. Bob is
Yeah.
having generic red wine in my I drink and I know things glass. I was so
There you
close to
go.
buying one of those Game of Thrones glasses where it's like I drink and I know things. I was so close to getting one of those.
I did
You
not
you
know
don't
that
know
was
the
a Game of Thrones
reference.
thing. Is that a game? No, I watched Game of Thrones. I
Tyrion
was a big Game of
Lannister.
Thrones guy.
Tyrion
Really?
Lannister.
Oh,
Remember he
all
used to
right.
say I drink and I know things?
True. True. True.
Yes. Fair. Fair.
True.
Yes. Okay. What else? Simple Pink Moscato that Stacy Hill is having. Um, Manastee's IPA, North Channel Brewing
I don't know what
Company
that is.
from Manistee, Michigan,
Manistee,
that
Michigan.
Daniel Ramej is drinking.
Go blue.
Yeah. Okay.
Go
Well,
blue.
that's
Lots of stuff
adventurous.
going on out
So,
there.
what
Yeah.
are you reading, Kai? What's your news fix?
Oh man. I thought you meant what I was reading. And I'm like, well, I'm in the middle of volume 1 of Rick Atkinson's trilogy on the Revolutionary War, but that's not what you meant.
Oh,
Um,
interesting
yeah, I'm
though.
rereading it because
How is it?
it's so good. He's so good. He's so good. And I'm rereading it because I'm waiting for the second volume to come out. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. Um, I can't get over, and because I was just listening to another podcast that others in this podcast audience may listen to, I can't let go um, of that Sam Alito story. How in the days after January 6th, in front of Justice Alito's house was an American flag hanging upside down, which came in that era of this country's recent past to be known as the Stop the Steal flag. And I can't get over it for two reasons. Number one, just on the damn merits. Are you kidding? But also, I truly love that he threw his wife under the bus. And he said, well, Mrs. Alito was offended by the neighbors, and that's how she was feeling. So she put up this flag. And I'm like, really, Sam? Come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think though it's going to be another example of how much Congress has its hands tied on this issue because we've seen example after example of what looked to be pretty clear ethics violations that for lesser
Oh, yeah.
justices, as in
Yeah.
lesser courts, would
Right, right,
definitely
right.
have repercussions, but are
100%.
not in this case because it's the Supreme Court. And I've yet to see the check on the balance.
Yeah, what's really interesting about this being the Supreme Court, right, is that there is a school of thought out there espoused by some of the justices themselves and some other right-leaning legal scholars who say that the Congress has no authority over the court in these
Hmm.
matters, and that's just hooey. We've talked about this, right? That's just
Yes, we have.
baloney. It's just absolute garbage. The fact of the matter is that Congress won't, let me rephrase that, Republicans in the Congress will not take a stand on this. And that to me is insanity. But this story, I mean, how much more do we need to hear and see about this? How much more?
Well, and we were talking about funding for the Supreme Court yesterday.
Yep, yep,
That's really
yep.
the last remaining lever that Congress seems to have in this, because if they pass a law that says, the Supreme Court has to have an ethics policy, the Supreme Court will probably overturn it as unconstitutional,
Oh, let's have that
because
fight. Don't you want to have that fight, though? Come on.
absolutely, sure, I'd love to see it
Right?
play out. But in the
Right.
meantime, what Congress can do is adjust the funding. And that's, the power of the purse is indeed a power.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
that is the way people want a rodent update.
Oh, so Teddy, our rat guy, is here. I've got a rat guy because when you live in a 110-year-old house, you have a rat guy. We're literally on a first name basis. He's here every 3 months. He says a couple of things. Number one, since his last inspection, there have been a number of breaches. That's what he says in our perimeter. That's what he says. In other words, holes in the house that have developed because it's a 110-year-old house. So he's fixing those. He's going to bait the traps again and move some around. And also, he is confident, and I didn't ask him why because I had to come do this podcast. He's confident that what's ever getting in and keeping us up at 3:20 in the morning, the critter was there again last night at 3:10. I don't know what it is about the 3 o'clock hour. Is
Mm.
not staying, but is leaving and coming back. So we're gonna go with that.
I feel like we should take bets. I think raccoon. Do you have raccoons in California?
I think so. Yes, we have raccoons in California. I don't know. Our history here is rats. Rats know this house and they like this house because they've been coming here for 110 years. It just
Mm.
sounded to me bigger, but what the hell do I know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
When I moved
Yeah.
into my place, I was trying to clean and I moved some appliances out of the way and found many um, dead and desiccated rodents underneath my
Ah,
fridge and dishwasher and stove. And it was very disturbing. And I called the exterminator in, and he said to me, so, Highway 395 in DC? And I was like, yeah.
yes,
And
I
he
do.
says, you know how
Yep.
from 395 you can get to Virginia, to Maryland, or to DC from the same highway?
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah. He was like, your kitchen is Highway 395.
Oh man. Wow.
And
That's a bummer.
and he
That's a
said,
bummer.
from your kitchen, they are going everywhere else in your house, and it is the
Oh
hub
my God.
of all
Oh
of the
my God.
activity.
Oh
And
my
so
God.
I did a great number of things to address the situation, and I have not, knock on wood, seen any rodents since. But man, it was mildly traumatizing at the
Just
time.
because you're not seeing them doesn't mean they're not there. Very quick shout out to the
Well, I
Princess Bride
did.
from Why Am I Mister? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. I did hear something in the wall, and I got one of those things that you plug in, and it puts out the high
Oh
pitched
yeah.
noise that
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
makes them stay away, and that
Yeah.
seemed to
Oh, that's
deal with
good.
it. So,
That's good.
yeah.
Very quick shout out to the Princess Bride here from Why Am I Mister in the chat. ROUS's, Rodents of Unusual Size. What a good movie that is. What a
Good
good movie that
stuff.
is. All
All
right.
right, so
What's your
I
news? What do you got?
have two news items. Quick one is sports related, and I'm going to make it quick so that I don't accidentally say something that makes me sound stupid because it's sports related. But I saw this very interesting story about if you're trying to watch the NFL season this year,
Mm-hmm.
you have to subscribe to at least 5 different streaming services in order to get all these games. And so I found this on howtogeek.com randomly. It said, the NFL is officially all in on streaming services that negatively affects fans. For example, last season, the only way to watch the Bills versus the Chargers in December 2023 was to subscribe to NBC's Peacock streaming services. Making matters worse, the NFL doubled down and put the primetime playoff game between the Dolphins and the Chiefs behind Peacock, depending on the package. Fans, and then let's see, for the upcoming 2024-2025 NFL season, Peacock will again exclusively air the season opener and likely others later in the year. Then Thursday Night Football airs on Amazon Prime Video. Then Netflix plus ESPN Plus will host and air an undecided exclusive as well. And NFL games on Christmas Day will only be on Netflix. And altogether, they are saying in order to get all of these together, to do everything, it's going to be hundreds of dollars worth of subscriptions if you actually want to watch all the NFL games.
Yep.
Which is wild
It's
to me.
amazeballs. I mean, to be clear, a lot of NFL games are still on regular broadcast television, but the whole streaming thing and the amount of money you got to spend to get these sports is a lot.
Well, which is funny because I was listening, I think it was on Tech This Week. They were talking about how advertising revenue is switching to streaming, but one of the few remaining places, and I've done some reporting on this as well for political advertising, that you can get a large concentrated audience is live sports, right?
Yep.
And now even
Exactly
that's fracturing, which is making it kind of hard for advertisers. Okay.
Yep.
Other things that are expensive, and I guess it's kind of related to sports, is making friends. There's this really interesting story in the Wall Street Journal about how it has become significantly more expensive if you want to make new friends. So making friends as an adult is hard anyway. But as the Wall Street Journal reports, more people are relying on gym memberships, art classes, and other paid activities to develop friendships, and all of those things are getting more expensive. And if you want to meet your friends for drinks, that's getting more expensive. If you want to go out to eat, that's getting more expensive. And if you talk about the amount of time it takes to make a friend, and they've actually calculated this at something like 200 hours or whatever, and you boats. And if you have all of these hours that you have to spend hanging out with somebody new, and all of those things are getting more expensive, price tag goes up, which I just thought was a very interesting way to look at it. They've got charts on the increase in prices in alcoholic beverages, food, movie theaters, concerts, club memberships, lessons and instructions, and overall in general. I will say that when I was doing my 40 Skills for 40 thing last year, I definitely found that there were people who were probably more casual acquaintances at the beginning of that process that I now hang out with way more, because over the course of the year, they kept joining me for things and we ended up spending more time together. And sure enough, hanging out more made us closer friends, but it came with the cost, because anybody who looked at that list, there was a cost associated with it. So I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, totally fascinating. Totally fascinating. And it is very, very hard to make friends as an adult. That's a fact.
Yes.
All right, done with the news. Quick break, and then half full, half empty. But before we go, look, I'm just going to say it. We need money. You guys are reading all the stories about media. You're reading all the stories about everything else. We need your help. So this weekend only, shrinking the minimum donation to get our new Shrinkflation mini tote bag just for all y'all. $10 more to get this super popular thank you gift, and do your part to keep our newsroom going strong. And while you're on the donation form, mini pencils. Here's a big pencil. We've got mini pencils. Check it out.
Look,
I don't know why
donations of any size whatsoever make a difference, because it all does help. Individual gifts really are the most important and sustainable part of our budget, because we can plan on it, especially, if you're giving monthly. And revenues are declining across the industry. And so those monthly checks are credit card contributions or whatever, they all really do make a difference. So if you can chip in $10 or more right now, you will get that shrinkflation mini tote bag. And you will also know that you've done your part to help everyone get smarter about the economy. But you can only get the discount if you go to marketplace.org/give smart, or you can follow the link in the show notes.
We're coming right back.
Okay, we are back, and it is time to play a round of Half Full, Half Empty, hosted by our very own Drew Jostad.
All right, Chuck E. Cheese's has announced they are getting rid of the animatronic band
All the
by
way
the
full.
end of this year. Are you half full or half empty?
All the way full.
Could not be more full. Could not be more full. Chuck E. Cheese is hell. Full stop. Yeah.
Sorry,
And lest you
arcade
think, by
outside
the
my
way,
window.
lest you think that it's just me. So Diantha Parker, one of Marketplace's editors, was visiting this week, and she was in the control room when I did that final item. She literally stood up and threw her hands in the air like Rocky, and she was like, "Yes, yes!" She felt like a 9 or a 10-year-old, whatever. So yeah, all the way full, all the damn way.
Are you half full or half empty on going into debt for a friend's wedding?
Oh, I saw this story.
I did
Basically,
not, but I
that
have thoughts.
so somebody shared it in our like now reading channel on Slack, and it was about how weddings are weddings are expensive, but now people who want big weddings are sort of signing their friends up to be groomsmen or bridesmaids or whatever the gender neutral term for being in a wedding is, and without checking in with people about how much they can afford, or then shaming them when they can't do it, or like just booking stuff and sending Venmo requests. And I just think that's so mean to do, and is the stuff to make you not have any friends after your wedding. Attendance. Thank you, everyone, for pointing that out. Wedding attendance. That is the gender neutral term, and I love it. Thanks. I appreciate that. So,
All the way
in
empty.
terms,
Totally.
yeah, all the way empty. When I had a couple of different weddings when I got married, didn't have attendance at any of them, and people were grateful. And it's like, especially if you're asking people to travel and stuff, like just don't do it, man. Like, or make it reasonable, and or budget for it in the wedding if it's important to you. Like, I don't know, man. I don't like it.
Yep. Totally. Hard pass.
Oh, somebody reminded me. Rima had a podcast about this. Expat Mike pointed out about a friend suing another friend for the wedding for not attending. Right.
Oh wow.
Bad.
Wow.
Yeah, it can get
That's
vicious.
not good. Yeah, totally.
All right, there's a new spin-off series of The Office in production this summer for Peacock. Are you half full or half empty?
I never got The Office. It never did it for me. So take it or leave it. Look, and I'm a big John Krasinski fan, Steve Carell, but I never got that show, so I'm half empty.
I'm neutral. I don't really care. I'm gonna say half empty because I'd like some new things, please.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
All right. This next story is a story that Janet Wynn had on marketplace.org, which is McDonald's will be phasing out self-serve soda machines by 2032, and customers are noticing similar things at Wegmans and Panera, other places. Are you half full or half empty?
Sorry, by
Apparently half empty.
2032?
Yep. They have a
What,
while to do it, apparently. They have a lot
It's
of
going to take them
locations.
8 years to do this? Well, yeah, I guess they do. I don't, half empty. I don't care. I don't know.
Free refills going away.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about what sodas do to our bodies and to our health and things like that. So half full, why not?
There you go.
As she sits here and drinks a bubbly drink with sweetener.
Yeah, that's different. That's different.
All right, we got the poll.
We got the
Oh,
poll.
okay.
All right. So
Got the
those
poll.
of you who are
Get
here with
ready.
us live, as it were, all 270 of you, chime in, peeps.
All right, a new song recently released by Drake features a computer synthesized verse from Tupac Shakur. Are you half full or half empty on using AI to resurrect dead celebrities?
I totally thought this was going to be something on the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar beef, but
Me
okay.
too. Me too.
It was part of
I
the
am not
beef.
which,
It was.
which
it
I'm not
was
equipped to
part of
weigh
the
in on,
beef.
by the way.
I am not, neither am I. AI to resurrect dead celebrities. I did see another article in the Wall Street Journal today about using AI to resurrect some of the oral arguments from Brown versus Board of
Oh
Education.
yeah. I saw that. Totally interesting.
It's
Creepy, but interesting.
so cool because basically the Supreme Court started recording audio of the proceedings, I think something in 1955,
Right.
and so just barely missed Brown versus Board of Education in 1954,
Right.
Which is the famous separate is inherently unequal case for folks who need a reminder. And so what they did was they had all this audio of the justices, involved and the people involved, but they had voice actors read the transcript so that they had the proper intonation and pacing. And then they ran it through the AI with the voice generation so that it matched. So cool. And so I think it's one of these uses of AI. I'm like, this is good. This is going to make this learning about this much more rich for people, and especially young people who consume media in that way.
Yeah.
So in that case, and Tamara Haynes says it kind of how I think it. That's history that we don't have access to. Resurrecting dead celebrities is unnecessary when we have audio recordings of them. Yeah, I mean, yes, you could argue that Tupac probably would have made a lot more music and would have had a lot more things to say if he had lived, but it's not like we have nothing of his, unlike these other folks. I think we had a clip in our Thursday show the other day about with a rap artist, I think it was FK Twigs, who was saying that, she really, this is her voice, this is her identity, this is her music, and she's so careful with how she makes these decisions about what she wants to do with her work. And so it's like, yeah, leave it alone. And Kevin Flanagan, it's also about art versus historic record.
Right.
Sarah Zeitz, the Beatles did it well, but it was more about just finishing up what was already made. Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Yeah, finish up what is already made is one thing, but just kind of making something up because you feel like it, I don't know, leave them alone.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think along with the history part of this, it's a matter of civic education, right? To hear those arguments, and it's of value. Which is not to say that art and artists are not of value, but it's a different deal, right? It's a different bar, I think. Totally interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we already gave the answers, didn't we? Should we see what the poll says?
Yeah, let's see what the poll says.
All right.
Oh, Tammy Palmer, good point. The Natalie King Cole and the Nat King Cole duet was great. That was magical. True. All right, half empty, 86%.
I also think it's
But
different
what?
because it was her dad as opposed to,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if she had chosen, somebody else, it would have been a different deal, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, very true. Okay, so half empty, 86%, half full, 13%, 166 votes. I'm half empty on this. So yeah.
Yep. All right, there we
Okie dokie. That is it for us today. Thank you everyone for joining us. We will be back on Monday. If you have a question or a comment for us, you can leave that for us in a voicemail at the number 508-UB-SMART, or you can email us at makemesmart@marketplace.org.
JC Bold, ladies and gentlemen. Make Me Smart is produced by Courtney Bergseeker. Today's episode was engineered by JC Bold. Our intern is Talia Menchaca.
The team behind our Friday game is Emily McCune, Jamila Huxtable, and Antoinette Brock. Marissa Cabrera is our senior producer. Bridget Bodner is the director of podcasts, and Francesca Levy is the executive director of digital and on demand.
Yep. Today only.
Another one in the books.